How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we are discussing the Red Kite Launchpad. Now the Red Kite Launchpad, we have a lot to go over, and we're not just going to be talking about the Red Kite Launchpad, but we're also going to go over the Polka Foundry ecosystem, which is basically where the Red Kite Launchpad is coming from. So we're going to look at the token, we're going to look at the white paper. I have a price prediction to make at the end of this video, and of course a quick overview on how to actually get started. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing today, so if that is what you are looking for, then please make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned, and I will see you guys in a bit. Alright everybody, before we get started, I am not a financial advisor. Always perform your own due diligence, do your own research, and with that out the way, let's get into it. So before I start any review, I always look at the tiers first. If you are not familiar with launchpads, every launchpad has a tiered system, or most launchpads do at least. Knowing the tiered system will allow you to know how much you will have to invest and what you will get in return for your investment. It is crucial information, and that is why I start with that right away. So starting with the tiered system, we can see that there are 4 tiers currently on the Red Kite Launchpad. We see Dove, Hawk, Eagle, and Phoenix. I'm not going to waste any time, we're going to jump right into this. So the very first tier is not a guaranteed allocation, meaning that you will have a chance at participating, but it is not guaranteed. It is also very cheap at only 500. Now, before getting further into this, what token do you need to buy for these tiers? We're talking about the Polka Foundry token, right? PKF. So there's no such thing as a Red Kite token. They are using the token of basically their mother company, Polka Foundry. That is a crypto ecosystem. We'll get into that in a bit, but this is the token that you will need. It is currently going for 15 cents, and there is a bunch of markets where you can buy it on. How to do that? I'll get there in a little bit. So with 15 cents, we can make a very easy calculation for the very first tier, and that will be 15 cents times 500. That will be $75 for the first tier. Now, relatively speaking, that is quite expensive, mostly because you will not have a guaranteed allocation. You will only have a chance at participating, while it is still quite a substantial amount of money that you will pay for that chance. Now, this is not even the first tier that I would recommend, because you will actually have to do social interaction requirements. You will not be able to participate in the private sales or the prosperity group. There's no airdrops, and you don't even have a guaranteed allocation. So the very first interesting tier is going to be Hawk, because we have a guaranteed allocation. Now, we still have to do the social interaction requirements, but if you're not a big investor or you don't want to invest a lot of money, then this is going to be your best bet, because investing in a lottery tier is never a good idea. So $750 for a first guaranteed allocation on Red Kite. That is very expensive compared to other launchpads. However, as we will find out in a little bit when I review the projects and the overall returns, Red Kite is very famous for having a lot of returns on their projects. So because of that, the prices are quite high, right? They have a track record of very good returns, so you will have to pay more money to get a tier, as it is quite guaranteed almost that you will get good results with Red Kite. So, and over here we have the most expensive tier. We'll quickly calculate this one as well. That will be 60,000 for 15 cents, and the total price for that will be $9,000 US. So for 9,000, you will get everything. You will no longer need to do the social interactions. You will get a guaranteed allocation, exclusive pools, occasional airdrops, and a private prosperity group, as well as the largest part of the pool. So that is obviously one of the main tiers that you would get if you want to be a big whale in Red Kite. So that is for all intents and purposes the tiered system. They go in a little bit more detail over here, but it isn't really interesting. So that's the tiered system. Moving back over here, let's take a look at the polls and see how the projects are actually performing, right? So you just bought yourself some tokens, you staked your tokens, and now you have yourself a tier. You're going to invest in these projects. But the first thing we have to look at is, how did the previous projects behave? Did they make profits or did they not? Now, first of all, do they actually have any upcoming projects? Yes, they do. It is called the Epic War IDO. They have a community sale, they have an event, and they also have their IDO. So there is currently events going on and projects being launched. Now, before we look at the upcoming, let's look at the completed. So we have a bunch over here. Now, what I want to show you guys first is a couple of their most recent, or at least some of their projects. One of these was Monstera, which, as you can see at the token sale, there were some very good returns. The public sales made around 26% in profits. There's another project over here called Be Fitter, and also here around 41% of profits was made from the launch. Here we see even 1000% returns on the IEO. So there are some very good projects on this platform. Looking at the overview of the Red Kite Launchpad, we can see that the TGE ROI, so that is the return on investment since token generation, is very high. Here we see the average all-time high TGE ROI, so the return on investment at the moment of the highest price. Now, this is not very relevant. The TGE ROI is more relevant. So we can see here 14x, 11x, almost 2x, right? So all of these are high X's. Now, they do also have a lot of projects that didn't make any returns. For instance, this is a 0.08x. Now, this means that you practically just lost all of your money, right? Now, we do have to keep in mind that the all-time high TGI was still an 8x, 13x, 20x, 23x. So the token generation return on investment may have been, right now might be quite small, but at least there was a very high all-time high, right? So there's a little bit of that balance in here, right? Dreams Quest got a 152x after the TGE, so it doesn't really matter that right now it is at 0.23x, because most investors already got the vast majority of their profits and they moved forward. So if this over here is that high, then this doesn't matter as much. Now over here, for instance, these are the projects that did best. So we have the TGE ROI that's high, but the all-time high is even higher. So overall, we see good projects, but we certainly also have some projects that didn't take off that well. Now, again, we're in a bear market, and every launchpad has projects that do well and projects that do less well. So it's very normal and it's very understandable, but always keep in mind that even the Red Kite, right, the Red Kite Launchpad launches very high quality projects, but even they have projects that don't do well. So do your own research, even on the Red Kite, to find out what project is actually going to be profitable according to you. If you see a project that you don't think is good, don't just trust your gut just because it's Red Kite. Think for yourself as well, right? And that counts for every investment opportunity and every launchpad, but especially for Red Kite, because a lot of people get carried away because of the high returns. There's also a dark side to that. Now, looking at the upcoming launches, again, we see Epic War IDO. The announce date is to be announced, so we don't know when it's going to happen yet. We do know that they're going to raise around 200,000, and the vesting schedule is also already out there. It is 20% at TGE and then linear vesting for 10 months. That means that there is no cliff. So, the vesting schedule is not very interesting as of right now yet, but it will become interesting once we have the launch date and we start investing into the project. Now, the rest of the project is quite transparent as well. We have a project introduction, we have kind of a roadmap over here, and we have all of the information for the price and the token and all that. We also have all of the social media links to the website of Epic War, where you can go ahead and look at the website yourself. Now, overall, it looks quite cheap. It's not really one of the projects that I'm very bullish about, right? Just everything here doesn't look like a very profitable IGO in my opinion. I already took a look at it behind the scenes, but just not bullish in my opinion. So that's what I mean, right? Red Kite has plenty of good projects, but there's also some bad projects out there, so you don't want to get involved, in my opinion, in their next upcoming IGO. But again, that is also just my personal opinion. All right, so now that we looked at the projects, it is also important to understand how to actually participate. So as you can see here, easy join with 5 steps. They say stake, KYC, apply for whitelist, swap, and claim. So how to actually get the tokens, that should be the very first step. Over here on CoinMarketCap, we can navigate over to the markets so that we know on what exchanges the Polka Foundry token is going to be listed. We can see here that we can get the token at gate.io, KuCoin, Uniswap, BitMax, Lay Token, Hotcoin Global, BingeX, and ZT. So Gate.io, KuCoin, Uniswap, of course, the bigger exchanges, so that is good to see. They also have a bunch of other exchanges available. I would personally always recommend to stick with the exchanges that have the highest amount of trading volume, which in this case is going to be BitMax and Gate.io. So I would personally stick with those, and if you do have a very strong preference for an exchange, then just go to whatever exchange you prefer, swap yourself the tokens, then come back here. Then you want to go over to staking. It's on the website. Of course, you'll have to quickly connect your website and switch to the Ethereum network to utilize the staking tools. I'll actually go ahead and do that real quick. And of course, then you go ahead and stake your tokens. Now, you do have to KYC, meaning that if you are a United States citizen, you're not going to be able to do that. So don't bother staking in the first place, all right? KYC is overall quite simple. If you're not from the United States, just simply follow the KYC procedures and you are good to go. After you KYC your wallet, you can go ahead and stake and find a project to participate in. Now, staking is done over here. You have a bunch of pools. Just look at the pool that you like most. So here we have certain types of APR, certain types of lockup. So this is a very low APR, but there's no lockup term. This APR is much higher, but that is because you will lock up your tokens for longer. So click whatever you want, and then you can go ahead and put your tokens in there. So it's very simple stuff. They even have a little box for buy pay KF, and it will direct you to Uniswap, so you can go ahead and buy it from there. All right, now before we look at the white paper, let's take a quick look at the token and a quick price prediction while we're at it. So looking at the token overview, what we can see is that there is a bunch of comments already. Most of them are bullish, right? Most CoinMarketCap sentiment over here seems to be bullish, people who like the project. On the all-time chart, we can see that the project started in early 2021. It had a relatively bumpy but quite okay TGE, and then the price plummeted, only to come back up again over here, reaching all the way up to nearly $2, no, more than $2 at the all-time high. Then when the bear market hit, it went down quite significantly, but had another small surge over here, making the coin go all the way up to 20 cents from 10 cents. That is a 2x. So this may not look like a lot, but this went from 13 cents all the way up to 20 cents, and now it's at 15 cents. So the price is showing a willingness to go up. And that is, of course, partially because of the Red Kite Launchpad, but also because of the Polka Foundry ecosystem, which we will look at in a little bit. But that is another asset to this Launchpad, as it is another ecosystem and utility to the token. So the token has shown to be willing to go up. After it goes down, it climbs back up again. This is largely due to because of, the token has this utility. There is this huge demand for this token because you can do so much with the token. The demand also gets increased because there is just a bullish sentiment overall. So people want to have this token. So even if the market sentiment goes down and therefore the token is forced to lower in price as well, it will go up again because of how the token is designed and because of the bullish sentiment people have on Polka Foundry and the Red Kite Launchpad. So with that in mind, when the project has even been further developed and the market situation starts to increase and get better, then it's going to inevitably go up in price again. So all I see it is, look at this, right? We see here this big overall kind of dump, right? From an all-time high to another all-time high. In between, we have a dump. And I see this as another valley. The token is down because the market is down, but because the launchpad and the ecosystem behind it are solid foundations, when the market starts to pick up again, the price will likely go up. So I would see this personally as a very good entry point, as the price is likely to spike up again, potentially even to the $2 all-time high, but at least to around 50 cents to $1 when the market conditions are better. So that is my personal price prediction. I think that that is going to happen as it looks right now. So as you can see, I'm quite bullish on it. So it doesn't matter that the volume, the fully diluted market cap are like down. That's okay, right? You can let the project suffer a little bit, let it go even further down in price. It is only going to make that entry point so much better, right? The market at the moment is not in a good spot. So I'm not expecting Polka Foundry token to go bullish right now, but it will go bullish in the future most likely. Now, as we can see, there's more than 82,000 people that have this token on their wish list, and it's ranking below 900. So there's a lot of people interested, and that also indicates that when the bull run finally hits, this token has immense potential to shoot up to former all-time highs. Now, as we can also look at the contract, we can see here on the Ether scan all of the holders of the token. More than 6,000 people are currently holding the token, which is a 0.16% increase. And the max supply seems to be 200 million PKF. Now, looking at the holders tab, we can see that around 80% of all of the tokens is currently held by a contract. That is 25 million worth of value. Then here we have Qcoin and Uniswap and just a bunch of other contracts also holding large amounts. From around here, so from around a couple tens of thousands of holdings, that is when we are starting to get into the actual real investors. So as you can see, there's a lot of big real investors that are holding tens of thousands of dollars of this token. All the way down to top 50, we can still see big holders with multiple thousands of dollars invested into this token. Now this means, right, look at this, even top 100 all still above 1K. So this means that there is a lot of high quality tier 1 investors that are putting a lot of money into this project, thus expecting the project to go up in price. Now, obviously you shouldn't be a sheep and follow other investors as their decisions, but if they, with this much money, with this much confidence in a large amount of numbers, invest into Polka Foundry, then there has to be a reason for it. So the holders are looking quite bullish. Also, it is being passed around quite a lot, more than 100,000 transfers. So overall, the holders are quite active also. So that is roughly the project as it looks right now. They do have a white paper linked. So as we said, as we promised, we're now going to move over to the white papers, right? So we're going to have to stick with what we can find about Polka Foundry. So let's take a look at the background first. Blockchain is a useful and revolutionary technology which is getting a lot of attention in recent years. However, despite much anticipation, no significant blockchain adoption has been observed. Polka Foundry is designed to enable the first useful, accessible, and widely adopted decentralized application. In the long run, it aims to be a viable decentralized alternative to cloud computing platforms. The blockchain industry is yearning for the first killer app to validate this technology. Although plenty of blockchains exist with billions of USD invested, such an application remains elusive. If Polka Foundry can do that, it is a game changer. So that is a very ambitious goal indeed, and I wonder how the Red Kite Launchpad kind of goes together with the Polka Foundry goal in mind. And I also wonder if they have any Red Kite points on their white paper, but it doesn't look like so. They do have a little bit of information around their ecosystem. So the parachains, the DeFi utilities, and the bridges are going to be the Polkadot Relay chain, which will be the Polka Foundry platform. The Polka Foundry platform blockchain will have substrate, EVM, and UX features, and the Polka Foundry DeFi services will consist of Polka ID, Doku Guard, and Polka Gate. External data providers, and it will be developer friendly. Okay, so that is the ecosystem and the token utility overall. Then there's a lot of tax and a lot of not very important stuff. Utility features, asset inheritance, account permissions, decentralized chatbot, Doku Guard, etc., etc., etc. Right? So overall, there's a lot of just information, very in-depth information regarding the ecosystem of Polka Foundry. Not very interesting overall, and it's also very interesting to see that they don't have anything regarding their launchpad. Now maybe they have anything over here, but also nothing regarding their launchpad. So this is not very interesting white paper for this particular video, mostly because they don't really say anything regarding the their launchpad. So for us, not very important, but good to know that it is linked to that project. Now, overall, we went over everything on the website already. There's not much else to be discussed surrounding Red Kite. So all we can do now is quickly look at their social media. Now, the social media is fairly important, mostly because it encompasses how active the community is, and also how active are the team members and how are they interacting with each other. So they joined on March 2019 and they have a whopping 511,000 followers. They posted here on July the 7th, and these are retweets, yes, but they're still posting very actively. This was from 8 hours ago. Are you ready for a joyful event? Game Fazeri is on the way, stay tuned. So they definitely don't have a huge amount of interaction in terms of likes and retweets, but it's really not that bad either. They do something I really like, which is a weekly recap. So they will give news, everything that happened, all of the news flashes, and they do that every single week. Now, this is something I've never actually seen done before. It's really, really great. It updates the entire community on what has been going on, and it is great for keeping everybody in the loop. It also shows that the team that really does care about the project and does its fair share of communicating to the actual investors. Besides, the design looks really great, and it seems to be getting quite some likes as well compared to the other tweets. So the Twitter is looking very healthy and very active, and also very big. As for the medium, it is interlinked with the Polka Foundry medium, but most of the topics are actually Red Kite. So there is an IDO refund policy. As you know, I'm not a big fan of an IDO refund policy, but there's a article about that. The PKF staking pools, new tier policy updates, etc. So this is just your regular old medium where Polka Foundry and Red Kite will be putting out all of the tutorials and news flashes and everything you need to know. So overall, quite active. I read through some of the blogs and they seem to be of high quality. So that is all in good shape. All right, so that is everything that you need to know about Red Kite. We can go in a lot of detail, but it's really not necessary. If you know what I just said in this entire video, then you know what Red Kite is, you know my personal price prediction, you know how to get started, and you have a good overview of Polka Foundry, the token, and the projects. So if you still have questions, please let me know in the comments. Also make sure to like and subscribe. And with that out the way, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao everyone.